Tonight we're talking all about the list that CGC finally released, and it's a big one. Not really. Not as big as we thought it was going to be. So, Spiderman, what are you thinking? What the hell is going on with this list?
That Epstein list is insane. Oh, wait, we're not talking about that list. That's right. I'm sorry. I was talking about the Epstein list earlier. Oh, man, the list. Okay. Oh, man. You know what happens when you find your CGC on that list? You know what happens? That means you make the list, and it's not good. What I think about the list? Well, first of all, I got to be honest. I don't know. Just me personally, I bought some CGCs online a couple years, and I've always looked at certain books, but I'll be honest, I would never, like, for me personally, I would never invest in the Grill online, especially in the CGC or CBCS. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because I'd rather have the book in person. I buy it in the raw. I don't trust this whole CGC for me, it's not about security. CGC for me was about preserving the book. I like the idea of the case. It preserves the book. But to look at it and think that it's a secured item, that's insanity. It's a plastic case. Anything that could be made can be undone. I mean, I've seen a lot of criminals in my time, so it doesn't surprise me that this happened. I'm just surprised that it took this long for them to catch up on, or maybe this was something that was already known. But this is a big problem because now it puts the question and integrity of CGC up to debate, which is like, it took you this long to catch it that the community has to point this out to you. This is a scandal. This is crazy. I mean, and I feel bad. Like, first of all, like I was telling you about when we talked about this last time, remember I was telling you that I know they're going to press this to the fullest extent of the law, and I told you they already hired like the top private investigating firm in New York. I know that for a fact. And no, this is serious. This dude, leave America if you can still get the hell out, because these are major felonies. You're talking. Look, understand what a felony means, people. Especially if you sell anything online, it's usually $1,000 for a felony. All right, but now anything you sell online that's phony, it's automatically a felony. It could be a $300 book. So now you're talking about books that are worth hundreds of thousands. I mean, I've seen some Amazing Fantasy 15s on it and Amazing Spider-Man 1s. So that's literally felony. So
in pretty decent
it's really
grades.
bad. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, and that's another thing too. Like, come on. Like,
and that these books have been sold and possibly resold. Like, these books could have already changed hands at least 2, 3, 4 times.
Oh, definitely. And that's the only thing. That's the other thing too, is because when we were talking about that, and it was funny because we were actually talking about it. I was gonna do it just to see if I get away with it, but I'm not doing it now. I was gonna pop open my 7.5. Spider-Man sticker, put it in there. Like, hey guys, you forgot the sticker. But I'm like, no, the gig is up. I was actually not. I was gonna do it as like I was literally gonna do it, make a show up. I still may do it. Why not? I may just wait a couple months.
Yeah.
Pop this baby open. I'm gonna make a whole video about how I'm gonna pop it open, how I'm gonna pull out that book, that tattoo from 252. Guess what? I think I do have it. I know I showed you guys a video of a 252 I had hanging up on Fantastic Four. But my question is, now that I think about it, right? Because the tattoo issue, isn't that 252 Amazing Spider-Man? Is this like a 252 one where the tattoo is in every book that's numbered 252 for Marvel at the time? I'm wondering. I don't know if that's the case, but I would like to find out. But I did do research on that Fantastic Four sticker. It's the same one. It's the same tattoo. It's not different at all. It's a spider and some other stuff. And I remember when I had my book when I was young, I literally took the freaking. When you take out the sticker, first of all, for you guys that have never seen it, you don't see anything. It looks like a blank piece of paper. But when you put it on, that's when the ink starts to come out. And I put the spider on my hand like an idiot when I was a kid, running around all happy, like. And I look at that book right now. I'm like, you dumbass. Like, this is why, like I say, even right now, like, people have comics, and it depends on the issue you buy. When it comes to comics and the digital, don't remove that tag. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get an incomplete book. Like I said, I learned that the hard way. So I literally was like, "Is what it is," But yeah, what a great what a great story that was uncovered. This is something that I appreciate for everyone who put the story out there. This is a great thing to put out to the community because this needs to be known. I mean, I'm gonna start going through my books. Obviously, I haven't really ever bought anything really high end. Like, a lot of my comics are my comics from my original collection when I was younger. So I was lucky enough to have these comics, and I started submitting my own CGCs a couple of years ago. So at least I know where my stuff is coming from, you know, like it's me, definitely.
Yeah.
But you know, I just say for whoever's gonna buy a high-end book right now at this point in your career, if you're looking for an investment book, I'm gonna be honest. I personally, if I'm gonna spend a couple $1,000s on a book, which I can't even picture doing that, you know, I have a lot of stuff I'm gonna trade up to, but I'm not spending thousands on. But what if I did? I don't want that book in no CGC. I need to examine that thing. You can put anything in the CGC. I mean, for people like us who collect, we could tell. I mean, I remember I was telling you a while back too. I saw a fake Amazing Spider-Man 300 immediately. It was literally like I looked at it. I was like, "The hell's wrong with this book? It's too red." See, so things like that, like you can spot phonies. There's not a lot of phonies going on here. They are books. They're just being graded wrong and switched up for other books that are not the same grade. So if you was
and
to
there's
buy
the one that's so faded.
Said,
there's the one 252 that's so faded that you can see the difference from when they bought it as the certified label or whatever it was with the missing Mark Jewelers stamp or whatever the hell it was missing, to when they then resubmitted it with the Mark Jeweler stamp. It was so much more well done, crazy. Like,
let me tell you something. You gotta understand.
That right there is Captain America's shield, Anakin. No, I was just responding to this comment over here.
What's up, Anakin? Yep. What up, Anakin? Shout out.
How's it going, buddy?
Boy, Anakin.
Don't worry. So I was just looking it up that Amazing Fantasy 15 has Stan Lee written on the cover, or written on page 1 in pen. So it's signed by Stan Lee from 1986. Yes. And it's a 6.5. That puts it at the $100,000 range without a signature.
Imagine how crazy.
So with that signature, we're talking probably 150,000.
Yeah,
so somewhere between 100 and 150. I could easily see that book having gone for somewhere on eBay.
Yeah, that I could definitely believe. And you see, this is the thing that people don't understand, especially people who are, I guess, scammers. The worst thing you could ever do is leave yourself a freaking trail to follow you back home. You literally did sales online and you put it out there. And one thing about eBay and all these other bidding websites is that they never get rid of their data no matter what. You can delete it. It don't matter. They have your sales record in a database because you have to legally be able to apply. They got your real name and all that. You know, you don't have to use your real name when you're selling on there, but you have to give all this information. You have to make an eBay account. They know who you are. They got your name, your social security. Like, you picked the stupidest way to commit any kind of crime. Like, if I was going to commit a fraud, I'm not going to do it where I'm leaving myself a freaking trail that you can follow me back. That only one person, it's going to take one person to discover my fraud, and then my whole thing's blown up, like exactly what happened. So, you know, I just hope that this dude gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because I don't give a hell or damn about what anybody says. That's stealing. You're a thief, and that's it. And I don't got respect for people like that. You want to earn something, that's fine. Go earn it with your hands, but don't try to con people. That comes back to bite you in the ass. It's called karma. And I don't feel bad for this dude at all. I mean, I really hope, from what I'm hearing though, because I did reach out to a couple of my friends who are PIs, and they know people at this law firm, the private investigating firm. It's funny, I was actually going to work for these people. I'm not going to say the name, though, but I was going to work for them. But anyway, yeah, so they reached out to me, and from what I'm told, like, this is like, from the books that they got now, they think there's maybe even more coming from what they're uncovering, because this is just what they're catching from eBay. Now, yeah, I'm also hearing that he did have a Whatnot account, an Amazon account, and some other account, some foreign account I never heard of. But they said that they're looking into all of this. But the main thing is the eBay account, because that's mostly like when you're doing business like this, you're American based. It's very easy to just, like I said, go right into the records and pull everything out. They got enough for this guy, but I think they want to make sure that they're not missing any, you know, unturned stones. They're going to investigate every avenue possible, from every place he could have possibly sold, even if it was private sales or whatever, you know. But I just say like this, people, please work. It's okay. You don't have to scam people. This is, I don't,
Yeah.
it's so dishonest, and it builds such a distrust among the community. And I know that for the most part. I've bought books over the years, as well as submitted them to CGC, and I think I may have picked up one phony. It wasn't an expensive book, but I immediately contacted eBay and I sent that book right back to the dude. I was like, "You can do whatever you want with it. I don't want it. This is not a real book. It was crap when it came. Nah." I know when I looked at it, I was like, this is garbage. I went right to eBay, which is good about eBay. Like, at least, like, I know they were doing it back then. I'm pretty sure they're doing it now. If you have a problem with any kind of sales or anything, you go right to them. They'll immediately give you your money back. eBay is good with that. But this case, eBay's not going to have to really get involved with that because of the fact that it's going to be an investigation team. So what's going to happen is, first of all, this guy's assets are probably going to be all frozen by now. They have to be. Because you got money.
Sure.
Unless he was smart enough to start taking it out. I mean, unless this guy was smart enough while he was seeing this on the internet, like, oh, damn, the gig is up, and try to close this account up. It doesn't matter. They still have your name. But
or hopefully he's got it in a security
like
deposit box or some shit. Like,
I doubt he'd be that smart. I'd be hoping. Because you're selling comics on eBay.
Oh, well, yeah.
You're selling them on eBay. What are you going to do? Say, I didn't know? I sent them back to you guys, and you sent them back to me. But I didn't know. Nah. You see, like... There's a dumb. That's why criminals are like the majority of them are dumb. That's not a mastermind. This kid's really an amateur. I mean, to have done that, and like I said, I will not put myself in a position where I'm gonna leave an entire trail for you people to come find me. Like, how am I gonna do that for? At least selling under somebody else's name or something, you know. But that's not the case. I looked into it, so I thought that I was like, okay, accounts. If I was gonna do this fraud. If I was going to do this fraud, I would have had multiple accounts. I would have had different names. I would have had people fronting for me. And I would have said, if anybody asks you, I'm a distributor and I gave you this to sell. And that's it. You have no responsibility. But nah, you know, I guess because you're greedy, you don't want to do that. Hey, Slapgate. What up, Dave?
What's up? Welcome to Slapgate.
We went from Acetate Gate to Slabgate to...
That's what I'm going to call it. I'm calling it Slapgate. First one to call it that.
Yeah. So look, I'm just going to make sure that these edges are fine. This is a 100 I just got back.
Does it seem pretty weird that most of these books are Amazing Spider-Man books?
No, not at all.
No.
Because think about it. What's the number one title that everyone is out there to hunt for?
True.
Daredevil.
Amazing.
Daredevil, definitely.
As an investor and as a collector, it's always Amazing Spider-Man. Always is, always will be.
You can look behind me and see that that's the case for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. That's my number one, obviously.
But
I mean, I have a
do you think that it's Amazing Spider-Man?
House of Comics.
Do you think it's Amazing Spider-Man because so many Amazing Spider-Mans get submitted that they knew it was going to slip through the cracks? Or do you think it's Amazing Spider-Man because that's where the money solely was at? Because, I mean, there's books out there that are just as expensive, just as sought after. Like, obviously, not Spider-Man is a big hero, but like the fact that there's no Batman books on here, the fact that there's only one Superman book on here, there's hardly any X-Men books. I found that very really interesting.
Strange that probably 98% of the books were Marvel.
Yeah,
and there was one or two independent books, which one was a TMNT one. Which I was surprised.
That's crazy.
And there was a TMNT one. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a second print that was slipped in there for first print. And because they look identical. The only way to tell is to look at the inside front cover to see whether or not it's second print or not.
Well, and if you can't look for a Mark Jewelers variant, you obviously can't look for anything else.
Right. And then for DC there was a Superman book. And the that classic Catwoman Adam Hughes cover, which I thought was also very strange. It was Catwoman 51 signed by Adam Hughes. You know, that classic cover done by Adam Hughes that was also signed by the artist. It's only like a $500 book, so I was kind of surprised to see that book on the list. Because most of the books on the list are 4, 5, 6-figure books, you know. And I'm not surprised at all that it was Amazing Spider-Man basically topped the list on when it came to books submitted on the list. There was only a few Incredible Hulk 181s on the list, which I was
Yeah, there
surprised it
was a
was
few
not
of them.
more, especially
Hmm.
with the Marvel value stamp, that was often snipped out of that book and submitted. Um, Only a few Mark Jewelers on the list as well. I thought there would have been more because that was one of the books that was first identified. Was one of the I think it was the ASM 252 Mark Jewelers. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
surprised
think
it
you're
was
right.
not more.
Hmm.
There was a few oddballs in there, like a Hulk 340. That was kind of strange. But 104 or 105 ASM 300s.
Oh,
That was
nice.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
That's
100
crazy.
or so, and the majority of the grades were 9.8s. I think there was a couple of 9.4s and 9.6s, but the vast majority were 9.8s. So it makes you wonder how many 9.8s are actually around for ASM
9.8.
300. You know,
I mean, I'll
I
be
used to
honest.
own. I used to.
I can't hear you
Go
guys.
ahead.
I'll be honest. When I was I had like thank God, like I do have a lot of Amazing Spider-Man 300s, but these are actually mine. But yeah, I would be upset if I like was to buy this book, and then you're like, wait a minute, what the hell? But
Yeah,
like also what you were saying too, it's the high end books too. It's the real high end
Yeah.
books. You're talking books like 5,000 and up. That's another thing I noticed, and it makes
yeah,
sense as a thief because you want to get like if I'm going to jail to rob a convenience store and I'm gonna get the same amount of time to rob a bank. Why don't I just go rob the bank? It's the same amount of time. So in this instance, I'm gonna go to jail for a felony. I might as well make as much money as I can. Same felony. It doesn't matter. Once you sell anything online that's over $100 in a fraudulent way, it's an automatic felony because it's electronic use and use. Like if I use a credit card to buy from you guys, then that person is protected and you are done because you just committed a felony because because even if it's worth $50, the fact that you use the credit card to purchase it bumps it up automatically to a felony. So I don't know if people really know the law, but yeah, you can look that up in the penal law. New York State is very tough on stuff like that. And from what I can tell, this guy is based out of New York State, so he's pretty much
yeah,
gonna be done. They're just
yeah.
gonna
At
throw the
least,
penal law at his ass.
at least that one person that we identified from eBay was, yeah, from New York State, which
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
is definitely not the only person who's involved, but that's the
Oh,
Oh
only
no, for
person
sure,
definitely.
and
that
that's the whole
the
thing. See,
YouTuber found.
right, and I'm gonna tell you honest. I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that, like you said, is a group because we only found one. What makes you
Definitely.
think there's not others out there? And like I said, I always like look.
Right.
You guys know I was a police officer, so I never thought about doing anything thieving wise, but I always thought about I could crack this thing open easy. Anyone can crack it open easy. You can't buy these thinking that you got a secured comment. For me, the CGC case is only good for two things: to register your book, so it's in the database, and to just have it to protect your book. But I would not buy this thinking that this is 100% secure. Nah, anything that can be closed by man can be reopened. Believe me, locks can be picked. And I don't know if you guys saw
Yeah.
that short. Shout out to the 99 Newsstand, but he was showing about a soldering iron with just a little bit of heat, a little coercion, and you can pop it right open. You just heat it up just enough, but you don't heat it up to melt it. And then he put he was showing they put glue, like a line of glue, wiped it down. He said they would usually put tape on that. Or he wiped it down with his finger and you couldn't see anything. So yeah, I mean, it's a
Yep.
locked case. The only thing you got to
Yeah.
figure out is how to unlock that lock case. And I mean, the gig is up. So CGC, I don't know if you guys saw that from the 99 Newsstand, but honestly, you need to change the design of
Oh,
that book. I would
I'm
definitely take the
sure.
bottom clamps and make some kind of new interlocking clamp that once you put it in,
Yes.
the only way you're going to get it out is you got to break this entire case. So you ain't going to be able to
Yeah,
get it
the
out.
Yeah,
fact that
Now,
you can just heat the
I
case
think
up, I found that insane. Like, I don't understand how people didn't, like, people at CGC didn't see through this. You guys continue talking. I'm going to show off Anakin's purchase. He bought one of
Oh,
the
Anakin, you bought something.
mystery boxes,
Nice.
so you
Congratulations,
automatically get
Anakin.
one of these wristbands valued at $5, and then Flash $7.89. Harley
Nice.
Quinn, that's issue 3 from the DC Rebirth, and then it's Jane Foster 1 through 5.
Nice.
So valued at
Oh,
$40. All of these are valued between $30 and $200. So you definitely got your money's worth with this one, that's for sure.
congratulations. Yes. I'm gonna be doing that soon too. I'm pulling all my comics. Oh god. I've been busy. Like I haven't been YouTubing or nothing. I've just been trying to straighten out my stuff. I'm gonna be doing some videos about my hauls for Christmas because I got a lot of CGCs and I got a lot of collectibles. Like one thing, like I say to everybody, thank you all my family friends who reached out to me and yeah, everything you see here, like all the Spider-Man stuff. Trust me, I didn't buy a lot of it. I bought some of it, but this was all donations throughout the year because people know that I like Spider-Man, and they still to this day they'll send me every Christmas. I get a haul of different figures and stuff. I'll show you this one I got. I love this one. I didn't but I'm gonna be doing a show on these anyway. But look at this. That's for my fiance. Thank you, baby. That's
Very
dope.
nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I like things like this. I got like big boys purchases and stuff. Like I got more collectibles than I did when I was a kid. I'm so happy. I love Christmas. I was like, oh, look at me. I was like, what Spider-Man stuff did I get today? So oh, she also got me this. This is why I need to check, but it's not an expensive book. But I also got this for her for Christmas. I love it.
Oh, cool.
Web of Spider-Man 100. Funny thing about
I got
Awesome
one
stuff,
of those,
Armor.
not graded, but I love that cover.
Oh, I do too. This has always been one of my favorite covers. That's the real Spider armor, by the way. So you can see it was all silver. It wasn't like all Tony Stark looking. This was a rough armor edition. I really like this book a lot. And my fiance, what she did was she submitted it for me. She took it out my collection, and I wasn't really looking for it at the time because I remember I was talking to one of my boys, Nate. And I was gonna buy a copy because I was like, I had it already. So I'll just buy a copy. I was gonna go buy it from Nate Comics. Shout out to you, Nate Comics. But then she saw I was talking to Nate, and she goes, "What are you buying from Nate?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be buying this book." I showed her the Web of Spider-Man number 100. So I have it in my collection. I just don't feel like submitting it, not knowing that she already got it out my collection months ago and submitted it, and it came back because I did see a CGC, but I thought she was buying me something different, and she laughed. She goes, "I'm sorry to tell you, but I got your book submitted for Christmas," and it came back a 9.8. I was like, wow, that means she can handle my stuff. And she submitted it with my account too. Smart girl. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, okay. So I told Nate, yo, man, I'm sorry, man. I got to pass because the girlfriend got it for me, man. And she felt a little bad because she had to tell me because she didn't want me to buy another one, Which I told her it would have been all right. Even if you would have bought it for me, I still wouldn't have cared. I would have had another one. I don't care. I have abundance of books. I mean, I was picking up so many books. Like, look at this pile I got. This pile I call the gold pile. I'm going to be putting these up for sale. But look at this, guys. This is all second print of New Mutants. New Mutants. I got like so many of them. X-Force number 1, the gold one.
Damn.
Yeah, I got
nice.
about these stacks. I have about 40 of them right now just sitting in my lap. And then I have more in my collection that are sealed up. I haven't even went through yet. I'm gonna be doing my shows again and cracking these babies open. But I got so many of them. Like I'm just trying to compile all my expensive books together so I can start putting them back up on my eBay and my own website. But it's a lot of work, man. It's like what I've discovered being a comic book creator and all, and being a YouTuber, it's very hard to do both. And, I find myself trying to dedicate myself to both too much. And I got to pick one or the other. Like, I'm definitely going to be picking the comics over everything else, of course. But it's just like people ask me lately, yo, YouTuber or a comic creator? I said, I'm both. And they're like, how can you be both? Isn't that like time consuming? I was like, I guess it can be, but I'm not at that point where I feel overwhelmed, I can just do all this with no problem. But it is what it is. And, I'm trying to just figure out ways to push these books out because I have so many. I'm still to this day not organized with all my stuff. I have in a corner over here I have in my closet over here, I have bags that are similar to this but full, and I must have about, I don't even know, 4,000 comics I haven't gone through yet. It's because each pack comes with books of 3. So that's all thing I'm gonna be doing too. I'm gonna be doing on my website and on my eBay. I'm gonna be doing those books like this book right here. Because I know that this got some money. It ain't worth that much, but this is probably worth about 25 and up for a pop. What the CGC goes for in this probably goes for a lot more. And I could be honest, these are mint 9.6 to 9.8. There's like nothing wrong with them. So I don't know. I'm gonna probably sell them, but if I see it, they're actually gonna be worth submitting, I'll submit all those. I don't care. I'll submit them all and then just sell my CGCs. In fact, I think that's what I'll do instead. I gotta put, but let's talk about going to CBBS because you never hear this problem with CBBS. I never heard any problems like this from any other company other than CGC.
Well, so
Not yet, at
CBCS
least.
also has their they're not without fault too. They have their issues as well.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and
Yeah.
if I were them now, I'd be trying to like market the crap out of their new slabs and everything, trying to get one over on CGC, especially with the bad press that they're getting right now. But unfortunately, they don't have the
You know, I
money,
didn't think about that.
you know, to market that, you know, with all the
Yeah.
money that they've spent
Yeah, that's true.
recently.
Well, and the thing
Yeah.
about CBCS
That's
that I
crazy.
love is the slab. Like, I love the fact that there's not that inner well on the back. It's
Do you
flat.
have one of their
You
new
know, I know
slabs?
what you mean. There's no inner
it's
wall in the
so much
back.
more
It's just
streamlined.
conformed.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's just it's
conformed. It's
one
streamlined.
flat
Right.
piece. And I love that, like, there's this little line back here, like,
Yeah.
you can grab onto it. It feels sturdier. It is sturdier. Like, it's one of those slabs that I'm like, this is something that I know is going to age well. The CGC slabs, they feel mass produced.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's that they are. Well, they are, but I don't know if it's that it is less quality. But like, I don't understand the point of having this little lip here. It's never made sense to me of why this is indented. It's never made sense to me of how two different companies can do pretty much the same thing, and one gets a ton of Newton rings. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Newton ring on any of the
that's true too.
CBCS slabs.
They don't have one. They don't have any Newton rings on the new CBCSs.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe their new cases are patented or patent pending. And that's kind of part of the reason why CGC can't copy their cases. But I do prefer the new cases for CBCS. They're newer generation ones, not the previous ones. Than CGCs. I did get a stack of books with CBCS because they got the new labels now, and they look nice too. I do like the new labels.
And
I think I'm going to submit all my stuff to CBCS from now on because
I know a lot of people love this white thing, this white, like the difference. I think it looks like a sticker. I've always said it. I think this ruins the slab, in my opinion. I don't like that big
like
white number. I love like that this is so simple. Like,
I don't mind it. I don't mind either one. I do like how the I do the centering better on the CBCS than the CGC. Sometimes the numbering looks a little bit more separated than it needs to on the CGC one, and it looks kind of weird sometimes in the box, especially if it's a slight printing error.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I don't mind it either way.
Even like I have a couple of old CGC slabs. Ugh, those are the worst. But you know what I did like about CBCS, because when I bought them and I started buying them, they have this already. Like obviously this is a new submission. I just got this back, so you can see it has the that UPC thing there. That what you call it, QR code. The QR code. Okay, the CBCS already had that for 2 years.
You can thank CBCS for that. They're the ones that
I know,
started
that's what I'm saying. CBCS was the first one to do that. And when I saw that,
Yeah.
I was like, nice. Now this is what your comics should have. Something that you could just scan. Like you can scan this if you go to Go Collect. You can scan this barcode. I don't know if you guys ever did that. You go to Go Collect and you scan that barcode, and it'll bring you to the book. But with this, it's so much easier. You can just scan the QR code and it takes you directly to the website. It's already set up. Boom, put you on. I like that idea for CBCS. They should have. Well, you can't. I don't know if you could patent a QR code because it's something that everyone could use.
No,
but I would have patented that for my design if I could have. Nah, I don't think you could.
And
it's like trying to patent a UPC or a barcode.
Yeah, they were also the ones where when you scanned it too, it would actually give you all the graders notes too. CGC for the longest time would not give away the graders notes.
Yes.
Until recently.
Which I never understood that.
So I never got that. It was so stupid.
And like if a book is a 9.6, I want to know what made it a 9.6. What pushed it down to that level? Like I know my 361 has that little pull tear from when it got pulled off of the printing press. I know that that's the reason why it's a 9.6.
Yeah.
But there's not a single grader note that says that. Like, obviously it's very trivial, but put that in the grader's notes. If that's the reason you're going to give it a 9.6, which in my opinion you shouldn't, because that is a printing error. It's not a handling, like that's typical handling of a book. Every book goes through that, and that happens. That's a 9.8. That's what takes it out of the running of a 9.9 or a 10.
I think I have a couple of books from CBCS that actually give you graders notes on 9.8s.
Probably.
Yeah, they do.
I have one or two.
I have a couple that you scan and it'll give you all the graded notes. It'll give you the second grade, the third grade, what they said. Some of the CGCs I had did have graders notes, but I noticed lately I haven't seen any graders notes whatsoever for the newer ones. But I do have older ones that it did show how many people looked at it. At least 2 people looked at it. I mean, but not all the CGCs have those notes. I mean, I don't know why, but some of them do, some of them don't. Because when I remember when I submit. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have like a few 9.0s and 9.2s that have no graders notes from CGC.
Which those definitely should.
Not a single graders note at all, which is wild.
If you're lower, I want notes. Like I remember that Secret Wars I bought off of you, Dave. It's a 9.6. Like
was there any
I'm gonna scan that and see. What
on
the
that
hell?
one? I don't remember.
It was a 9.6. It's got the barcode. It's got the UPC in the back and 2 signatures, Shooter and John Beatty.
I don't remember if that one had graders notes or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up to see if it does because it's a 9.6, and I want to know because I looked at that book and I looked at it up and down, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that book. I don't see a damn thing wrong with it. Not a tick anywhere. Even if there was one tick.
That book,
I mean, come on.
That book's legit. And that book's legit. That came from me.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Listen, it came from him, okay? So that means we're going to check this book later. It's going to make the list. No, I'm kidding. I thought we were talking about the Epstein list for a minute. Who's on the list now? Spiderman. What? He went to the island?
So this book that I showed off has no picture. So there's no image of the book. And then no notes, no signees. It just says it's a 9.8.
What the hell?
So that's from CBCS. Okay. So 9.8, not getting anything. I mean, I don't really mind. Obviously, a 9.8, there's some kind of imperfection. In all honesty, a 9.9 is just very unattainable unless you're an influencer, it feels like.
The only way you can get 9.9 is you better take it right off the press and let no one touch it. That's the only way it goes because you got to understand what they do. When they examine these books, they use black light. I mean, I do it. I know exactly how to grade the book because I do this the same way that they do it. Mm-hmm. They go through multiple lights. They use black light. They go through because of black light, you got to understand, for darker covers especially, and I've seen this myself because I was buying comics for years and I've had people try to sell me some Fugazi shit and I literally took a black light to it and you can see where the marker, like if you try to mark a black cover with a black marker, you're never gonna, it'll look to us, it'll look all right. but once you shine that black light on it, it'll glow a different shade of black, and that's how they can tell. And people have done that. People have touched, but that's important that you have to put what you found, and that's what I'm saying. And some of my old CGCs, that I submitted that I've had since I was younger, and I don't know the conditions of the books because I never wrote on them. But apparently, I was submitting a couple that had markers on them, like they were marked in. I was like, I didn't even notice, and that's why I started breaking out my flashlight, and I was like, oh, okay, because when I was a kid, I was given a lot of comics as well as collecting them. So the comics I was given were some of them were really good grails, but I don't know the people that had them before me what they could have done to them. But that's when I started finding this out. I was like, okay, but I want to look at this Secret Wars real quick. I want to see something real quick. I want to see if this thing
Now, I
has
had
any
a
kind of
I had
damage
a
to the
question.
spine. I don't
I
think
had a
it does.
question now with the
Keep breaking
whole
it out.
CGC thing that's been going on. Does that make you guys any less hesitant to submit books to CGC?
I'm not
I honestly
submitting
haven't
books to
submitted in
CGC
3
anymore.
years.
I stopped
You haven't
submitting last
submitted
year
in
with
3?
them.
I haven't submitted to CGC in 3 years. CGC upped their prices right before CBCS did. And I want to say that was 3 years ago.
I think that was 2 years
And
ago. That's right before they got bought out by BlackRock.
yeah. And
Oh,
all
damn,
of the
wait a minute.
ones that I
Wait,
bought in the
whoa.
collection that I
Did
bought.
you guys just say that BlackRock owns CGC? Seriously?
You didn't
I didn't even know
you
that.
didn't know that? Oh yeah, they bought them.
Oh, when
They
did they
bought
buy
them
them
out
2 years ago?
2 years ago for $500 million.
So I said
Now that
to my local comic
explains
shop
everything.
that I always submit through, where would you send them? And he goes, if they're for your personal collection, send them to CBCS. One, it's $20 a book or $25 a book, because he's obviously charging his cost plus his cost to ship and all of that. He ships 25 books at a time, so he needs to be able to cover the insurance and all of that on his shipping. So I totally understand.
That's the
Unavailable.
book you sold me. And that's what the greater
There you
notes
go.
say, unavailable.
Wow.
Like,
Not
why?
surprised.
Why did they get a
Not
9.6?
And that's on a
Yeah.
9.6.
not surprised. I'm pretty
It's a
sure if you
9.6.
crack that open, got it pressed, and then got it
I
signed
see.
by
Okay,
Mike
yeah,
Zeck,
yeah.
you'll get a
Listen,
9.8.
it's a tiny little. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. I can see it. It's a little divot in the spine, but it doesn't break color, so they shouldn't have even counted that. I mean, if that would have
I
been
would
pressed, it would have
love-
been a 9.8. But I could see it. I could see it
I would
myself.
love to
It's
just
right
take a
there,
book,
but
submit it, see what it comes back as, and if it's not a
I love this
9.8,
book.
take it back out, send it back in, resubmit it, see what it comes back as, and again, maybe it's a 9.6 again or a 9.4 again, but maybe it's also like gone up or down a grade, and then just continue to do that a couple times until you can see like same book, wasn't pressed, wasn't anything. What did they grade it? I'd love to just follow one book like that like 3 times over.
People do that. I've seen people do that on YouTube.
Okay.
And it all depends. It has to be cost effective too to do it.
Oh, for sure.
Say if you got like 10 books of ASM 300 in a comic purchase, and you think that it's a 9.2 or better, let's see how many times you can resubmit to see if you can get that 9.4 or 9.6, and it's still cost effective because you got next to nothing into it.
Yep.
But if you bought that book on eBay for say a couple $100 and the book's only worth $250, then you may only be able to do it once or twice, and then it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah. But see, a book like that, I'm obviously pressing and sending. I'm talking just like if I were to send in this random modern day book, if this were to come back in 9.6, just to be curious, like how far off are the grades actually within itself? Because I mean, we know that the census is messed up. That's already obvious. There's so many pressers who are cracking slabs daily, who are then submitting and not submitting the old label to then
Well,
have that cert destroyed.
right,
So
because
now
it's not
you have the
required.
same book that's been graded twice and it's on the census
Right,
twice.
right.
Like,
But
Yeah,
remember,
and that's a freaking
CGC
problem.
boasts that they have graded 85 million collectibles. They've said that
yeah,
twice now in the public statement within the past week.
I
So
So we got to say that CGC probably screwed up about half of that order because this is just what we're finding so far. So I mean, I have books I bought over the years, and most of them I submitted. But the books that I know that are not for my collection, I'm gonna start going through the list. And I did buy a Madam Web a couple years ago, but I looked that up already, and that one's good. I have a Multiman, but I know I bought that from my boy Nate, so we good with that. And a couple of comics I'm looking at now that I bought from CGC, not from CGC, I bought offline, but thank God the majority of all my stuff was all submitted by me, so I'm not really worried. And you know, I'm gonna do my investigating on this one. No kidding. Dave, this
what
is
do
a
you
great
guys
deal. Thank you very much. You know I'm gonna get the third signature. We're gonna be good to go.
yeah,
So
what do you guys
I, I,
prefer when it comes to buying a book you're searching for? Raw or slabbed?
I to me,
I'd
it
rather do the
depends
raw, and
on
I'm
the
gonna tell you
book.
why, because well, for
Go ahead.
newer books, I don't mind buying them in the raw.
Yeah,
But if
Yeah.
it was something like that I can get a good deal on, I'd rather buy it in the CGC or CBCS. But for the most part, I'm just a stickler when it comes to like, I don't know. I just think like having the books itself is better as a collector because you know it's yours. So then you can decide what you want to do with it, who you want to submit it to.
sure.
Plus, like Dave was saying, such an overhead. There's so much to submit these things, you know? Like, I think in the
Mhm.
future, it's this whole CGC, CBCS, I think this is just a fad that's just going to die down. And I think people are just going to get back to, like, you know, let's just collect them for how they really were supposed to be. Good
Yeah.
concept, preserving the collectible. This all comes from the coins, by the way. This is how they started. I know there was C
Right.
something. I forget their
Mm-hmm.
I forget their
Yeah.
actual initials, but they were coins. They
CCS
were
or
coins
something.
first.
I think
And
it's CCS
yes,
or CG,
yes, something like that.
CSC or something like that. Yeah. Oh, NGC. NGC.
Yeah, CBS or
Okay.
something. I forget, but
Yeah,
NGC,
because I
yeah.
have a couple
So
of
that's
graded
how they
coins at
started.
home
They were doing
somewhere.
the coins, and that makes sense. Yeah. I think I may have some from them as well. I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah,
But I mean
I
the
think
concept is
GC.
a
I
good
think it's like the
idea. But
numismatic rating company.
yeah, and that's how they this is why they have such a like an acclaim for an infinity of doing this kind of work because they've been doing this for years. They did this with cards as well. The cards first, and then they started doing the comics like about 20 years ago. Because I remember I
Yeah.
never saw one until like about 20 years ago, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "What a great idea!" And I started doing the research. I was like, "Oh,
So
this is good." Like, but it's not secured. That's what I kept saying. It's like it's just
it's
good case to hold your stuff in. Like, you know, that's it. It's just a good case for your book to be preserved in. Honestly, if you dropped
Yep.
it, your book ain't gonna get damaged from within. The case may crack and you're good to go. That's the only thing I see value in this book. And they also BS'd us all. They said they used an ultraviolet UV filter on all of these covers, 100% bogus. I should sue them for that because I already took it to my boys. We had one that was open, the slab, and what he did was he looked for he said, okay, if this has a UV clear coat, you're going to see that the color will be completely different when you take it out just by a little bit. Took the book out, same color. He goes, there's no UV filter there, and I looked it up. There is no UV filter. So
Yeah.
I don't know why CGC says that these things can reduce fading. No, they cannot. Your books are gonna
I've
fade
seen
if you leave
books.
them out. That's the bottom
Yeah,
line.
I've seen people's books sun faded online on like Facebook chat groups and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Just
Yeah,
over time, just keeping
yeah,
them displayed. I don't
yeah.
keep
I
my
mean,
books displayed, but I've seen some. It looks terrible.
I mean, I'm in the basement right now, and the only
yeah.
window
See,
that's by them is a glass block window
yeah,
right up here. But I mean, I use all LED lights in here
yeah,
for a good reason. Like, there's no UV fading with LED, so I make sure to
yes,
preserve
exactly.
and protect as much as I can. I mean, I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars like some collectors do invested into my books. My dad the other day goes, "Why don't you just sell everything and then you can pay for your student loans?" And I'm like, That's not how that works. Like I've got maybe $5,000 in books, and that's
No.
$5,000 in my value. That's not $5,000 in assumed value. Like
Yeah.
you got to understand the
Yeah.
money that you're spending isn't always the money that you can get out of this.
Right.
Exactly, and that's what it comes down to too. Because when I started collecting, okay, so you see, my books, I do leave them out, but I have this window behind me, and no direct sunlight ever comes in here. I mean, like I get lower sunlight, and I have a window on that side, but it's completely covered by a Spiderman banner, and I've left it like that for years. I don't even open that window. Hasn't been open in years, but I did that to block out all the sun. So I was able to do it in the layer where I'm able to display it safely. And I have my books up here for quite a few years so far, and they look pretty much the same. I mean, they haven't faded. There's not a lot of sunlight that comes into this room. Just, you know, the way that my house sits, it sits, the front of it sits south and the back of it sits north. And so because the back of my house is north, the sun comes down at a weird angle. It just doesn't come into the window. Like if my house was reversed, the sunlight would come in differently. So I don't know. It's just I live in a weird area where I don't get direct sunlight on me. So I'm so happy about that because this is what kills your books, you know?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I tell you, man, like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doing CBCS from now on. I'm not messing with CGC. I like what CBCS already done. I felt like they were already ahead of the game in a lot of moves. But CBCS, you need to get your damn grader notes on there too. Both of you guys need to do
Well,
this.
they
We
do.
wanna know.
They
You giving me a 9.6?
CBCS does
I know
CBCS does
why,
put
but
in
then
a vast majority of graders notes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know, for me, I just want every book. Like, if you're not putting grader notes, that tells me that you're doing too much work right off the bat. Grader notes, 9.6, spine tick. I can tell you exactly what's wrong. I could be a better grader than these people. Spine tick, right by here. It's right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a spine tick. That's it. I would say small spine tick by Iron Man's hands. That's it. That could be pressed out very easily. When I get the third signature, it'll be submitted. I'm gonna have them crack it open for me, sign it, but I don't want them to press it for me. No. Just sign it, say you got this. I'm pressing it. I don't know if they're gonna let me do it though, but I can press that myself.
Well,
That's an easy thing to
that's
press.
what
So
I say. Have like a lot of people don't know this, but have you ever gone on CGC's website and see what they actually guarantee for as a service?
No.
they only guarantee that the book is the book it says, and they never guarantee the grade or the condition. That's it. They just guarantee that the collectible you bought is the collectible that they examined and they put in. They don't guarantee grade at all. There's no guarantee for grades whatsoever. And this is why people don't know how to grade their books. I've seen people get caught out there all the time. I had a submission of 9.8 Swans, 327s, and they tried to hit me up with a 9.6. And I'm like, nah. I sent that back. I said, listen to me. How is it that you got all 9.8s and all of a sudden this one's a 9.6? I said, they all went in the same bundle. I never took them out. I put them all together. I bought them. They were put in plastic. I told the dude, don't touch the books. Put them in plastic for me and wrap them up for me real good.
Yep.
I examined every single one of them. I don't play when it comes to submissions because this is your future. You know, like when people ask me about, oh, what do you think about selling comics? I want to sell my excess, but I'm a lifelong collector. So who knows? Maybe one day in my 70s or my 80s or my 90s, maybe I'll just go to Sotheby's and do a damn, or Christie's, or do a damn auction like that. Because I don't plan to be flipping books like that. No, when I sell my collection, it's a legacy collection because I've been collecting since I was younger. This is why they gave me that Big Apple Venom that I was telling you guys, because they know about my collection. I've been submitting. I was submitting with CGC for like about 3 to 4 years straight. I was submitting so many books that I just had in my old collection that I was like, you know what? Let me get these books and put them up there. And yeah, so over the years, they just looked at my collection and from where I was at from the tri-state. And when I got that Venom book back, I'm like, why'd you guys give me a Big Apple pedigree? I didn't even know that. I knew what the Big Apple pedigree was. I'm like, how the hell did I get it? I don't own the collection. They're like, it's not work like that. It's because of the exceptional collection you have. You already showed, like, they told me that my books are legacy, which means like I can sell this as a legacy collection, which I would do that. And it will be one. So whoever wants to ever own what I got back here, you better have a couple million, because I'm selling everything as a freaking estate. It's going to be one complete collection. It's a legacy collection that I've collected since I was 8 years old, and I'm 52 now, and I'm still collecting. So if you want a real collection for someone who's been collecting since they was a kid, that's what they were talking about with CGC. I like when they told me that. I was like, okay, well, yeah, I never thought about it like that. They said, you've given us books that that was so old and in good condition, because when I was young, I would always take my books. I was a nut with my books. My sisters used to try and touch my books. I would beat them up. Don't touch my books. I remember one time they were trying to open up my comic book box. They all ran. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like very protective. I had a fire when I was younger. 13, our damn apartment burnt down. You know what I did? Well, house. You know what I did? I ran back in the freaking house in the basement. I had 2 long boxes. I almost died, and I pulled those things out. The firemen were yelling at me. I was like, screw you guys trying to get my comics. They would have took my shit. So yeah, I'm a nut when it comes to. That's my original first 2 long boxes I had. I had started collecting.
What did the comics in those long boxes get graded at?
Long boxes. Well, some of them got graded.
Was it worth it?
Well, I do have a 5.5. Yeah, I have the last Steve Ditko out of that. That's Amazing Spider-Man number 36 at a 5.5. I also had in that pile Spider-Man and the Human Torch. I had also Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends. No, I didn't have that yet. That didn't come out yet. I had I'm looking at which ones I had up here. I have about 4 of them up here. There's 2 right there, but the rest of them in my collection. But I do have older Spider-Man that I submitted, some annuals I submitted, and yeah, I was just things like when I was young, like I was so nuts with my collection. I didn't care. I didn't care. Yeah. I didn't care about. I'll be homeless as long as I got my damn comics. I didn't care. So that 2 boxes over time grew into like I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you how many boxes I have. From what I thought,
you stopped counting.
I have. No, it's not that I stopped counting. It's just that like I'm doing the X-Men box, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to put them in shorter boxes. And I'm doing a second X-Men box, and a third X-Men box, and a 4th X-Men box, and a 5th X-Men box. I'm like, so many like just for I can't keep track of everything. Like I have most of my stuff in boxes, but I have like it's an overwhelming collection. Like I really need help sorting it. Hey, any college kids? Nah, I'm not trusting you kids. Come back to my house. Don't worry, Daddy got plenty of weapons, so we good.
What's up, Porters?
But yeah, going, man, buddy? I can say like this for me, collecting's what's up? What's up? For me, collecting's just something I've always since I was younger, and I used to take
what's up, Scott?
One of the biggest things for me is that I always try to make sure that I'm taking care of the books in the boxes. And one of the things I just noticed is I overstuffed a box and I didn't even realize it. And I noticed it when I realized I have no more space in this box. This is almost completely full of Thor to put more books. So I started moving the Thor stuff out, and one of the Star books was stuck, and it actually fallen down in and snuck underneath another one of the books. Now Star isn't this big book, so I really didn't give a shit. I'll keep it, and it'll be a reader copy for the kids for whenever they decide to get into, if they decide to get into it. If not, then it can go in the recycling for all I give a shit. Or I can use it to decorate one of the blank short boxes. But it's one of those things where like it was a lesson in pay attention to how many books you have in this short box, because at some point you're going to outgrow it. And I always try to leave like a gap that I can fit 2 fingers in just to make sure I'm not overstuffing them now.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me too. What a very expensive book. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about it. It happened to me, but I was able to press out the 2 dents I put in the spine. Thank God it didn't break color. But I was devastated. It happened to one of my Amazing Spider-Man 300s. And that's the one I got back on a 9.2. I was very happy with. It was an 8.5. I wrecked the hell out of it. I wrecked it so bad. Like, I did exactly what you said. Like, what happened to you? Overstuffed it. It was my Amazing Spider-Man box, my long box, and I was trying to put in the first 300. It only fits 250. Dumb. I'm trying to put in 300. I'm trying to make this box from as low as I could go up to 300. That was going to be the end book. But then I started putting more books in, and then over time, I said, okay, I had about 10 of them back then. I only found 9. I started freaking out. So I lifted up the box and it was fucking bent. I was like, oh no. I pressed it, cleaned it, 9.2. I sold that one. I was upset. But hey, I did learn back then. Yeah. Another good tip I give you guys. I don't know if you do this. Do you stack your books together or do you do them back to front? Back to front. And I'm going to tell you why it's good to do them back to front.
I do back to front.
Yes, that's the best way to pack your comics, people. Because if you do back to front, your books will not. There's sometimes, even if you, like what you were saying, Chris, like you have, you leave some space in the box, right? But now when you leave space with these books all facing the same direction, they can still bend within each other. But when you put them back to back, the spines line up from left to right. Yes, and it keeps it steady. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. I do it to my comics whenever I have boxes. Sometimes I'll open up and I'm like, oh damn, I didn't flip this box, so I'm like flipping everything. But
I'm gonna have to go.
That's the best way that I say to keep your comics. Yeah, man.
Because in my mind, like this is what I thought when I originally started putting them in boxes. I was like, okay, I want to be able to see everything, and I want to be able to flip through and see. And also, it's got a board on the front of it and a board on the back of it. It's mushing itself in between those two boards when there's the right amount of books in here. I never thought like all the staples are now on one side.
So think about this.
And they're all kind of like elongated
and it's
one
actually
way.
Lean. Do it like this. Take your books, right? And stack them. Stack them all faced up. 20, and you're gonna see them tipping over. Take those same books and make flip them, and you'll see the stack is straight. It keeps everything in uniformity. It keeps everything straight. So in other words, it's not one side pushing where all the screws are, and now you got this side shifting. And you're moving boxes around. You can shift your comics doing that. You never know. So I just found that to be the best method. And you're right. Yeah, I like what you did. Like some of my comics, if I bought like doubles, then I would do that. They would just be in one plastic, but I would still make sure wherever's the spiders to the left on that book, I would put the next one flip to the right. I did it with 2 books as well. I don't recommend that you put 2 books in one.
Never.
Case unless you have you can do it, but you got to make sure that the boards that you use have to be double acid coated because most boards are just single acid coated, only one-sided. So if you try to put that book in on a side that's not acid coated, and I know from experience, that's why I'm saying it. My book didn't get ruined, but I noticed when I took it out, a tiny bit of the ink faded onto the back of that board. And I was like, look at this craziness. I wish I still had that board. I was mad that I threw the board away, not thinking.
I've noticed that happens with Marvel books too now. Even when you put them on the right side of that board that it's supposed to go on. I don't know if it's probably from from like 2015 on. A lot of the inks on the newer Marvel books are really cheap, and they come off after like a couple of years. Yeah, you've noticed that like some of the inks and like the paper quality is not as good in the Marvel books, and after like a couple of years, they say change your back and boards out every few years or so, but you've noticed that even within a couple of weeks or so, you get the ink coming right off the board.
That's crazy. So, it's cheap ass ink.
The only time I'll ever stick them back to front is when I know it's just
a terrible read.
Well, I mean, this wasn't the best read, but when it's gonna be just like this is a book that I want to keep because I enjoyed it. It was a nice read. It wasn't something that I know is gonna be big someday. I'll do it back to front. All of my wife's DC bombshells are all back to front in one case.
In the same one,
bag. Yeah. Just because, it's I don't give a shit. It's one of those books where Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah, of
books
course,
where
yeah.
it's like,
Right. So if you got books like that, yeah, that like we're talking about like, oh wait, what's most famous comics, the rarest? What is
I
the
think
most
most
expensive
expensive
comic?
right
Oh,
now is like Superman 1.
Superman. I mean, there's a no graded one that some sheik owns in Saudi Arabia, and I love the video. Like it's literally like a desert bunker. Oh my god! He opens up the safe and he has a no graded Superman #1, and he said he paid for that like 2 point something million back then. I don't know what it's worth now, but he paid a lot for it. It's a no grade, and he still paid 2 million for it. And he has the thing.
dumbass.
I'm gonna find the video, send it to you guys. He has it in a exactly. That's because he's living in Saudi Arabia in a damn desert with his bunker. Listen, man, for all that money you had, take that damn book out that bunker, man. Like you were insane. Like it literally, like the video's crazy. They're in sand, walking into this weird spot, and it's like a house. It's like, oh, what the hell? But it's like a damn steel door, like a vault. And you go into his vault, and he has all these books. I was like, wow. Let me come see you. I have to go with the
I think
we got to do shit to do.
the most expensive currently in the market isn't it like an Action 1 out of 8.0 or something like that? That sold for
Probably.
Yeah, Action Comics #1 for 3.5 million or 4 million. I forget the actual number.
Yeah,
it was a couple years ago. It made a record sale.
Yeah, there was a recent.
I mean, when you're talking about Anakin,
rarest comic, I couldn't tell you what the rarest comic is.
Yeah.
There's several really rare comic books out there.
And I mean, a lot of moderns are forced rarity. Like they're a 10 print run. So if you want to go with that being the rarest, it really isn't though, because it's forced. But there are comics out there from like the golden age that nobody thought to preserve, but there's still some really cool copies out there. They're not worth much, but they're comics that are very hard to come by. Yeah.
Like there's
I think I have the rarest book in the world. I really do.
There's a good example of the first appearance of Namor the Submariner was Motion Picture Funnies, and that book was only given out in movie theaters as like a promotional comic book. And his like first true appearance was in Marvel Comics 1, and then that actually reprints Motion Pictures Funny. And I think there's only so many left out there in existence till this day. That book never goes up in auction. But when it does, it doesn't command the price like Marvel Comics 1 does. But there's books even rarer than that. There's just not many. There's who knows how many of them there are left. But yeah, you're talking about really scarce books out there, but that don't command the money that like an Action Comics 1 or a Detective 27 does.
Yeah. I mean, the rarest book doesn't make it the most. I think I have one of the rarest books. I was telling you guys about that Venom Lethal Protector #1. The barcodes, I submitted 10 of them, and I got back that Big Apple grade, and I checked on the consensus to see if anyone or if there was any more Big Apple. There's none that exists. There's only 10 that exist on that consensus, and I have all of them. So for me, I know I have one of the rarest books. And I was talking to a collector. I was going to sell him a book, and he said, "Hell no." I was like, "What do you mean, hell no?" He goes, "That's a whole set, and I'm not going to buy that for me. It's gonna." He did me the favor. He was like, "Nah, collect that. You saw that as a whole set. Believe me, you can get whatever. Because as long as no one's going to ever have that book, the price is whatever you want. I got one for sale on 9.0 for $4,500 on eBay. So if you guys want to pick it up, come check us out now." I do. I put it up there more or less to see if but I put the up there. I put one up there, and I'm going to show you guys the ad later. I put that
that's the wife price.
And I have the other 9. It was like a line I heard out of Lost Boys. They were talking about a Batman number 50. So I don't remember the damn number, but they were saying some BS that it doesn't exist in the real comic world. But the way that he was like speaking, I just loved how he was just spouting the lines, because it was just funny. Like this kid's literally like, they were trying to say that's the rarest book in the world, only 10 in existence, and he's like, 9 actually. I'm always looking for the other 8. I'm like, yeah, I like that line.
There is a quite rare Amazing Spider-Man 1 that's going up for auction soon on Heritage.
Oh,
It's a
Yeah.
that's just
curator pedigree at a 9.8 that's going to be
oh
going
my
up soon
god.
on Heritage. I can't wait to see what that goes for, but that'll clear an easy 1 million for that book,
Well,
I
I can
would
tell you
I thought
straight
imagine.
it's
up,
already
man.
up for
I may or
sale.
may not have that book. Yeah, look at that whole wow. Yeah, I
Wasn't
saw
that
that.
supposed
Yeah.
to
I want to
be?
get that Heritage catalog.
I
It's
think it's coming
beautiful.
up on the upcoming Heritage auction, the big one.
Okay.
Uh, I
Yeah,
believe it's this month.
I want to get that
It'll,
catalog. Yeah, I want to get that catalog. I heard you could order them too for like $26.
yeah,
So
you can
I'm
order
gonna
them.
look for the
Yeah, you
Heritage
can
catalog
order
for the
them,
comics.
and if you've bought from Heritage before, they'll mail you one too when the upcoming auction is coming up. Because I've received a couple of them in the past. But yeah, I can't wait to see what that goes for.
Right. Oh my god, that's a 9.8. That's a 9.8. That's gonna go for like
Nine
millions.
9.8, yeah,
Millions.
curator
Maybe
pedigree. Oh yeah,
that may be the
that's
highest
gonna
selling
be
one.
that'll be yeah,
Like I
that'll
told
end up being
Marvel when they want
a
to buy my
record
stuff.
price for that book. But I want to see how high it
Look,
goes
Marvel, like
for.
I told you, I'm ready to do deals. Take me to the Marvel basement. Guys, let's just break into Marvel. Come on. Don't worry. We don't even have to break in. I'll just back them my way in. I'm like, yo, come on, we're here to investigate. I gotta go to the basement. I know where to
Did
keep
you
these books. I
did you
always
guys
say
get a
that
chance?
Marvel has a whole
Um,
vault of Amazing Spider-Man 15.
did you guys get a chance to look at that list fully to see the books that were on there, or at least quickly glance at the list
I didn't look at
to
it.
see
Yeah.
there was
Yeah,
one book in particular that really raised a big red flag, and that should
Mhm.
have been a book that, somebody who was doing reholdering, doing the quality control at CGC should have saw this and immediately,
Yes.
picked this
Should have
person
spotted it.
off from the beginning. And if you look at the Amazing Fantasy 15 that's on that list, tell me what you think. Are you on the list right now?
Yeah, I'm trying
No,
to.
no, no. I'm gonna.
We talked
There's
about that one at the beginning. It's the one that's signed by Stan Lee and has Stan Lee's signature on the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
what
Yep.
does
talking
it
about. Yes,
say
the one
on
that had
there?
the signature on the inside.
So look at that exactly and see what it says. And that should have been the red herring for CGC to pick this person off years ago. Because it says Stan Lee 86. What does that tell you?
It was signed in '86.
Wait, Stanley, what year? I'm sorry, it cut out.
So it says in the inside front page, written on the slab, it's a signature series. It says Stan Lee 86.
Mm-hmm. Stanley 86. The hell?
So that indicates that the
Why
book
would
was likely
why would Stan
signed in
Lee right?
1986,
But
right?
Stanley never
That's
put
what
the
that.
years on his books and his signature.
Well, he might have. It's possible. Who knows what he did, what he signed back in the 80s. But so that
Maybe.
indicates usually that's the year you signed it. You
Yep.
wouldn't just sign the specific.
Yeah.
When was CGC incorporated?
I believe. Well, like I said, they were a coin company at first, but when they
Well, I
started
mean,
slabbing, it
as
was
a comic,
probably like late
early
99,
2000s.
I was gonna say
like
late
99.
'90s.
I would say about 99 to 2000. Yeah, yeah, late 90s
So
to early 2000s for sure, because they weren't doing them a
why
lot.
would and this is the red herring that should have flagged this company. Why would CGC
I
accept a
understand what you're saying
reholder
now.
for a book that was signed in 1986 when the company was not verifying
When
signatures?
CGC, right,
And
right, they weren't around there. So how are they gonna know that's a valid signature? Because they don't do that. They say they have to see you sign it and witness it. So how are
A,
you gonna make
a
that a signature
hundred
series and say it's Stanley's
percent.
signature? Did they get a blue
That
label?
so
was
this
they got a
book,
Yeah,
signature series.
this book, I actually looked it up. So
exactly.
it's
Because
written on the
how can it
first
be? They
page.
didn't exist.
It's written on the first page, Stanley 86 on the inside in pen. It was
Yeah.
submitted for a signing by Stanley in 2018, and it's also signed by Stanley on the back cover. So
Yep.
that's why it has a
So-
signature label.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I found that on a Go
okay, so
Collect.
his signature's on the back.
Yep.
I was gonna say
Okay.
that should be
All right, yeah,
the
'cause I
big
was
red
like,
herring there that this book should not be verified, and
Yeah.
this should have been the a big red flag that
yeah,
there's
because if he
something
signed it
shady
in
going on with this
'86, how?
submitter.
Yeah, but that's crazy. See, it's like, oh man, this is nuts. I mean, yeah, because back then I have books that are signed from Stanley back then, and I can't submit those. I wouldn't even bother submitting those because I'm not gonna get a blue. But I did hear that CBCS will still, if they can verify the signature, because I know as
They
he got
just have
older, his
to.
signature started to change.
Look at all these
Yes,
They do a
CBCS will
comparison. I think what
still
they do is
they will still accept Stanley signatures. They just have to verify it. That's
yeah.
all.
194 is first
All right,
appearance of
so
Black Cat, right?
Yeah.
yes.
So
So
like this is
Mhm.
Black
another
Cat
thing.
was
The fact that there's this many reholders on 194.
that's that's what I
Don't you have a
noticed.
194?
I don't have one.
No, Chris
No,
has
I
one.
don't.
Don't you have one, Chris?
I
I have
think
one. It's a
I
3.5.
think he has one. Oh.
That mine is.
Are you on that
right
list?
there? No, CBCS.
No. Oh, yeah, I win.
And then also like all these 238,
Good
like the
move.
fact that
Yeah,
a
I think
lot
they
of
should-
these same
yeah.
books are getting resubmitted over and over and over again for reholders.
Yeah, that don't raise no red flags.
like that
But
didn't
look
raise
at
any
the
red
number order
flags.
too. Look at that.
But that's the thing. Like he or she couldn't have done this in like 1 or 2 years. This has to take time.
Oh
This
yeah.
takes a lot of time.
No, this was
Probably
done over
over
years.
10,
Yeah, look at all those
10
books.
years or so. Because if CGC sees that this one person is resubmitting just reholders, it should have been a red flag.
Yeah.
Should have been a big red flag.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah, definitely.
if you're doing them like
That's what they definitely messed
5,
up.
10,
The
20 at
same
a
seller.
time. Come
That's
on.
like me. I submitted like maybe I'm gonna say about 500 to 600 CGCs to CGC myself. That's like me sending back 500 of them and like, yo,
Yep.
I need these Reeboks. Like, you don't catch the red flag on that? That's something that, but that's the whole point. These guys are not mastermind detectives. They're just
And again,
old school book cobblers.
If these were the old school holders, I could see someone saying, you know what, I'm going to resubmit my entire collection to modernize it, to make it look newer.
Yep.
But usually in
Yeah,
your
exactly.
collection, you don't have this many Amazing Spider-Man 300s.
No way.
This is someone who clearly was selling.
Yeah, they were buying.
Exactly.
They were probably buying like 9.2s, 9.0s, 9.4s, and then they had maybe one 9.8, and they were just resubmitting, cracking and resubmitting, cracking and resubmitting, and just getting that 9.8 label.
Yep.
Yep, and
And then
enjoying that
and
sweet
then
money.
and then submit, and then submit like a couple of 9.6s in there, so it wouldn't seem too suspicious.
So this one right here was submitted in June. It was graded on June 22nd, 2004.
In 2004.
Yep.
Oh wow. Oh wow, that's really
Wow,
old.
that's like the
That's like
Yeah.
early
Oh,
generation.
wow.
Yeah.
Like the ugly blue label that they used to have.
So then,
Yep.
I mean, that tells you they've been doing this for about
Easy
20
this.
years now. That's what that tells me.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they could have been doing this since the beginning, which also tells me
Yeah.
that this guy may know something that we don't know, or know somebody who's
Mhm.
within. This could be something that's why they gotta investigate this.
Could
Because
be an
you
inside
guys
job.
could have a mole in your system, guys. It could definitely be an inside job. Can you imagine having?
Yeah, you could have.
I think we need to
You
investigate
could
this
have
further.
had. Well,
My
that's the
cop
thing. They
instincts are
could have had
telling me that this is an
somebody.
inside job.
It could have been somebody who worked at CGC a long time ago, and then they probably no longer worked with the company, and then like they had somebody in the
A
comic industry that
disgruntled
was
Yeah.
passing
employee.
along some of the trade
Yeah.
secrets later on. Who knows?
Yeah, this one was graded
And this
October
is why the
20th,
investigation is
2023.
important.
So you're talking about
Oh,
all of these
yeah.
ASM 300s over the course of 20 years.
Oh
That's-
my god! So he's been doing this since the beginning of CGC.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh CGC, you need to make
Yeah.
an example of this one. You're gonna lose your company. They're gonna lose their company. BlackRock,
Well,
you own it. We know you guys. We know BlackRock. BlackRock, you know what you gotta do. Don't worry about it. Give me a call.
Well, they got a lot of power there at BlackRock, and a lot of
Oh yeah, I know.
bigwig lawyers there. So I think they'll take care of this individual.
I mean, that would, if that would be the case, and he only had to deal with the lawyers in BlackRock, that would be awesome. But you know, hey, good luck, guy. Maybe
Well-
they'll send the hit squad after you. Nah, they gotta
Well,
prosecute this guy.
that's why I think that they keep on mentioning private investigator. That's why I think the private investigator is the FBI.
Well, I did hear that no, it is a company. It is I'm not gonna say which one because I did get the info on this.
You think it's an
It's
actual
one of the
company?
biggest. Yeah, it's one of the biggest private investigation firms in New York. It's a New York-based firm. I only know this because I was actually gonna work with these people, and my boy, who doesn't work for them anymore, but works a similar company. So I asked him about this, and I'm not gonna say the name of the company because they don't want it to be known. But no, this is a legit. This is. I'll put it to you like this, guy. If you're watching, this company was founded by retired officers, police officers. So you're going to be investigated by the people who are investigating for 20, 30 years of their careers. And there's like about 40 of these investigators. They were all retired detectives from the New York City Police Department. They don't even hire regular officers for this. If you weren't a detective, you can't even get the job in this firm. So, or detective, or at least captain and above. You had to have an extensive background in investigation. So this firm was put together like about 15 years ago. And it was started, like I said, by retired officers from New York, from the upstate to the NYPD to Port Authority. And these are people who have the investigatory experience. So yeah, this is bad because you got a freaking private investigating team that's led by all retired police officers that know how to use it. Not only that know how to use the system, still got connections. I can make a call right now. Hey, I need to get this one. I say I'm going to do it, but that's what kind of juice they got. So yeah, this is going to be full cooperation from all law enforcement with these people, and FBI is definitely going to get involved because this is like anytime you're selling from multiple states, you can't just hit this guy for anything from New York. I give you the book, I'm selling it to you, and I send it to Washington. Now FBI has to get involved because this is now across state lines. That's another charge too. You're going to get hit. What's that?
What if you sold this book across the border? Because I mean, that's not unheard of. There's comic collectors up in Canada.
What do you mean, in another country?
Like if you sold, because this guy's in New York, selling to Canada is not that big of a jump. Is that Interpol?
That there
no. It's just that if he sells
over
anyone,
there.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm pretty sure with the Canadian authorities, they could do joint task force investigation on this because, guys, this is real serious. The Amazing Fantasies 15 on that list and the Amazing Spider-Man #1's on that list alone, that puts it in the millions. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, this could be, honestly, we're laughing at this now. This could be one of the biggest international instances you'll ever see because, remember, this is worldwide. This guy's selling not just to Americans, he's selling to everybody. But the fact that you're selling in this country and you're going across state lines, you're going to get a charge every book that they're going to find that you sold to somebody defraudulently across state lines. That's another charge. And this is serious. Like, this dude, man, I don't know, man. Do you have a lawyer? Are you hiding somewhere? Like, you need to run, honestly. You don't got a chance. This is not going to be good for you. Because this is owned by BlackRock now. And now that you told me that, I'm being serious about that. They're not going to fuck him out with this. They're going to really put the foot to this guy's neck to the law.
A multi-billion-dollar Fortune 500 company. They got plenty of money to put this stuff, to go through the whole investigation.
And that's
they're not short on cash.
This is why they use. This is why they're using this investigating team. This is the top. I will say this much, and you'll be able to find it. It's the top-rated detective agency in New York City. That's all I'm gonna say. You'll find it. That's all you need to do, and then you'll see. And then you'll go to the profile. You go back. Oh my god, yeah, it's bad. Trust me, I was gonna work for these people, but I got this other job in Hollywood instead, so I decided to do that. But yeah, it was just like something that I was thinking about doing. I was gonna do the private investigating thing, and I was like, this is gonna be fun. I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. You know, I had another opportunity that came up, and it was actually more money. So hey, and you know, it is what it is. But yeah, this guy's completely screwed. This is an international incident. The minute one sells overseas, that's it. It's an international incident. That's bad.
Yeah, that Amazing Fantasy 15 is $100,000 in of itself.
Yeah, it's a pricey book. It's a pricey book.
Thanks, Carlito. Appreciate
it. Going
on? We're also doing mystery boxes. If you want to pick a number, let me know. The only one that's been taken so far is 15, and you can have your pick. All right. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Because you're talking about at least one book at $100,000. You're talking about Amazing Fantasy, but Amazing Spider-Man 1 signed by Stan Lee. That's probably up there as well. Like, again, you're talking about millions of dollars in value.
Oh, if not more. Absolutely.
And these are just the books we know about so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you've been doing this for 20 years,
books. Yeah.
There's at least 70 ASM 300s on there out of the 350 that are there. So you look back 20 years of between 2004 and 2023 of when all of those books were submitted. You're submitting roughly 3 books a year.
And that's why I'm saying, like, that they've identified 350 books from this one individual as of right now. We're assuming at least $1,000 in value. Obviously, some of those books are well worth more than that. You're talking over $3.5 million worth of fraud at least. This is big money, big money right here.
So that's what I'm saying. Because of that kind of fraud, you're talking mail fraud too. This is why the FBI must be involved. They don't have a choice. This is mail fraud. Whenever mail fraud is involved, the FBI must investigate it. They have to, because the post office has to get involved as well, and the FBI has to investigate this. This is mail fraud. It's mail fraud. I sold you something over the mail that wasn't legit. That's mail fraud. So 350 counts of mail fraud charges at least. I could have chalked that up to 350 felonies right off the bat. Except, this guy's screwed. I mean, honestly, from what I can tell,
this person's in trouble.
Prove that this guy defrauded millions of dollars. Listen, your minimum's going to be 15 to 20 years. So I hope you got people to give up, because this is the only way you're not doing jail time. I'm telling you straight up. This is not something that is a one-person operation. I'm telling you, it's not. You're going to see. It's like I call Barbie being a success. I'm calling this right now. Chris, make sure you clip this into a short. This is going to be one of the biggest decisions you'll ever see. This guy's going to go to jail for at least 20 years. They're going to throw a book at him. They got to make an example of this guy, because you just took BlackRock's baby and you exposed it for what it was. Now, for BlackRock's part, they're doing the right thing, because, like you said, they just bought the company a couple years ago. So this was not Slabgate, exactly. This was not going on during the time that BlackRock owned the company. So a company that buys it like BlackRock, and now they find this out. Like you said, Dave, it's that they have so much money.
Here's something really interesting.
They don't care. You are trying to destroy their business.
Right, and this is a company that's solely involved in investments. So they're heavily invested into into CCG, obviously the parent company of CGC. Of
course. I mean,
they're gonna go full through with this.
The Amazing Spider-Man 1, signed by Stan Lee, was signed November of 2015. It was graded October of 2016. So that means it could have been reholdered in 2016.
Definitely. It don't take that long to fucking
do
a Stan Lee signature. No way.
It was reholdered in 2016 to be another Stan Lee signed comic. most likely.
Yeah.
So this is a book that could even be a
I'll tell you,
fake
man,
Stan Lee signature.
Which I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
There's probably
And
a
not
bunch
only
of them
that,
out
like
there.
I said, I already know for a fact. I already know for a fact this is too big for one person to do. I'm sorry. This is This is multi people, and this is all upstate New Yorkers. I already know it. You guys are up there in the freaking. You're up there in the woods trying to pick up ways to crack open cases, man.
Add an 8-0.
Stupid. Oh, I got a great idea. No one will ever find out. No one would ever find out. It's foolproof. Yeah, okay.
Add
I
an
would never trust
8-0
these cases.
with
Like I said, the cases are
no
just for
Stan
like
Lee sig.
if the thing falls, it'll be all right.
How much do you think that's worth? Amazing Spider-Man 1,
It'd be like,
8.0, no Stan Lee signature.
8.0?
Yep.
with no Stan Lee signature?
There was just
That's got to be about $1 million book.
Oh, I don't
man.
know. That's a pricey book. An 8.0?
Right now,
Well, I don't know.
That's a very
right
pricey
now
book.
it's
How many,
FMV is
80,000?
48,000 on
Okay.
Go Collect. So with a Stan Lee signature, you're looking at 50 to 75, maybe even $100,000, depending on what someone's willing to pay for Amazing Spider-Man 1 with Stan Lee's signature sitting on it. So you could have taken this from a $40,000 book all the way up to, I mean, this could have easily been way below 8.0 and just presented really nicely. It was signed by Stan Lee. You bought it cheaply, and then you resubmitted it and reholdered it and said, "Hey, look at this! Bing, bang, boom! I've got a
That's what
$75,000
they
book."
were trying to. That's what they were trying to do. And then, like I said, that's why you saw the ASM 300 as the #1 graded book on there, because there's plenty of them out there. You know,
Yep.
it's the most graded book on the census by far.
Now,
it's not even the second.
guys,
It's not even close. Yeah, it's just easy to do, and
I
that's
just
why,
had a
Go ahead.
yeah. I just had a thought. Now check this out. We're talking about all this, right? It's the signatures of Stan Lee. If this guy figured out how to crack open a case signed by Stan Lee and pulled that out, who's to say he didn't replace that book with a forged signature of Stan Lee? Because
That's what I was
remember,
saying. Yeah.
if I got a book that was signed by Stan Lee, I cracked that out. I have artists. Listen, I have artists. I have professional freaking forgers that can sign this thing. I mean, I met them. I arrested them. Forgers. You can get a forger. Say, listen, practice Stan Lee's signature. Hey, guess what?
Yep.
Put it right back in the sleeve. Oh, I cracked it. I need it resealed. So guarantee you. Now listen to this, Black Rock, because I'm going to help you guys a little bit. I'm going to call my friend. I'm going to give you guys this tip. Check for the signatures too, because he may have counterfeited those signatures. Now you got counterfeiting as well. So good luck, guy. I hope you did at least one book like that. You're done. I think
And
that's
Stan
a
Lee's
possibility.
signature
Right?
is
Look,
so
just think
well
about it.
known. And this book has been claimed. This Amazing Spider-Man 1 book has been crossed out. So I'm guessing that means it's been claimed by someone. So I want to know how much CGC is going to pay to.
It just means that they submitted it. That's all that it means.
Okay.
Is that it's any of
No,
those
they
books that are crossed
guarantee.
off.
They only guarantee that the book is what they said it is. They don't guarantee no price. They say
Well, no.
that.
So
They said
in
right off the bat, they only guarantee
right.
that that book.
But in their statement, it said we will give compensation to those affected. So if I paid $100,000 for this book and it's really not worth $100,000, am I getting $100,000 minus what the book I have is worth? Am I getting?
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what I'm just speculating here, but what I think is they're gonna pay you the difference in what the current FMV is for that book. If you paid $60,000 for that book,
give you,
and the book's currently worth 40,
yeah,
you know, they're going to give you the current FMV on it, just like they would now. If you submitted a book now at Unlimited Tier Express, you're going to pay the 4% of the current FMV to get that graded. And I would think that they would do the same thing for that book. That is going to get comped.
So if I send in a book that's $100,000, I pay $4,000 to send it.
Yeah, because it's you pay 4% of FMV.
If they lose it, how much do I get back? 100,000?
If if the
I don't
book,
know.
yes. So
Okay.
you get the book insured,
Yeah.
you know. So if that book is, whatever it is, graded, and they lose, because remember the books, it's not guaranteed until it's graded, right?
Yep.
So and they would have to lose it in transit at that point. But if that book is obviously in the database, it's X whatever grade that F and B is, they would have to comp you on that.
All right. You're
Mike, what's
damn
your
right.
favorite writer for Spider-Man?
For I mean,
And we're
this
gonna
is a
have to
hard
end on
question
this because I
because
got to get to bed.
well, let me see. Who am one of my favorites? Oh damn, I don't know. I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm thinking
Probably
about
Nick
all my
Spencer,
old
right?
stuff. Maybe,
Nick Spencer?
maybe, maybe. Look, I'll put it to you like this. Like, for me, I never cared about who wrote the books. I was always into the art. My favorite books of all times has got to be when the Venom series started and Amazing Spider-Man 300. So whoever was writing 300 back then, they did a good job. I like that story. It was kind of like they made Spider-Man. McFarlane took Spider-Man to a dark, like edgy, sexy, fucking like
who was
limit.
right?
Like I
I
never seen
forget
this done. I don't know who wrote that.
who
I'll be
who
honest.
was
I
writing
mean,
it during that time. I'm trying to
I'm gonna go
remember.
check.
let me pull it. I'm gonna check right now because
I'm
I
gonna
do
let's see
like
who
the
gets it
story. So
first.
hold on.
Trying to think who was writing it then. Da, 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 da.
I might butcher this
All
last
right,
name, but
I pulled
Micheline?
out my Stanley 300
Oh
there,
yes,
and as you
yeah,
can see right there.
yeah, David
So let's
Michelini.
see. Um,
Migalini.
who wrote
Yeah,
this?
that's who it was. Yep,
Yeah, Megalini, I think definitely Mitch
yep.
Megalini. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Dave Megalini's style. I like the fact that he, like the way Tom McFarlane did it and the way that he wrote it. It was kind of like they made Spider-Man cool. He was good
Yeah.
looking. Mary Jane was
Yep.
hot as hell. She was at that point modeling and freaking in Peru, if I remember right. No, it wasn't modeling. She was actually in a telenovela. Yeah, that's what it was. She was filming a telenovela. I swear to God. I remember this
What?
story like it was yesterday. I love
Why
the
do you
writing
think
in
I
that.
have 3 of
And
these?
and yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go, baby. I need one of those. Send me one. I gotta send you something. We gotta do a trade. I'm sick of buying books. I got so many books of the same thing. Like I just gotta start selling them. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, that was my favorite run of Spider-Man. Like the old school stuff is good. I mean, I love all the Jack Kirby art. I love all the freaking Steve Ditko art. I mean, I'm a big fan of Steve Ditko.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and that's why, like, when I was younger, I was able to buy the last Steve Ditko, and I was like so happy because I knew that I didn't know exactly like when he stopped, but I knew that that book was a significant book. And 10 years later, as I got older, I figured out, oh, this is why he stopped doing Spider-Man. That's why it's the last Steve Ditko. Yep, I love
Yeah,
Ditko.
I have
On
I
top
have
of
that
that,
issue.
yeah, I love that. I just like the cover. It's such a cool ass cover. I
Yeah, I
just
like the
like
cover
how it
too.
looks. It's just got the paneling. I love the 3 paneling on the bottom. That's great comic book. Like to me, that's one of the best covers. Old school covers. That's at one of the top of my list. I like that cover a lot. I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, yes. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I did like when it comes to modern writing. Oh hell no, there's no one here that. I mean, if they're not making Spider-Man gay, crippled, or queer, I don't know what they're doing to Spider-Man. Spider-Woman,
Or a
Spider-Thing,
boy.
Spider whatever. No, I'm just saying, like, look, I'm just saying like this. It's real simple. I don't care about all that. When Spider-Man came out, it was supposed to be about one thing: a teenage struggle, a
Yep.
kid that has to figure out to navigate in the world, knowing that he lost his parents. That's what the
So
story's about.
I just played the
It's not
Scream
about identity
mission.
politics.
I just played the Scream mission in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game today.
Yeah, I was watching you play it earlier.
Yeah,
I want to get that
and
Carnage costume.
that I mean, those missions are hard as hell. The symbiotes are hard. Like you're trying to battle everything, do all that shit. But that's besides the point. Everything that Spider-Man is saying during him fighting Scream and Mary Jane like blaming him and saying all of this, I'm like, oh my, like that's why I love Spider-Man. And like that's what I'm thinking to myself as I'm doing it. That's why I love Spider-Man, because he's real. Like this is a real thing that he deals with. The fact that Mary Jane feels like she can't do her own thing because she needs to be there for Peter to be Spider-Man. That's a real thing. That's a real thing that a lot of relationships go through. Of I need to make sure that my man is able to do what he wants to do. I need to be able to make sure that my wife is able to leave her job if she needs to because she's not happy there. Like all of that. And like that's why I'm wearing this shirt tonight, because like honestly, I was such a fan of that mission, and like the story behind it, that it's genuine, it's amazing, and we see that throughout all of Amazing Spider-Man comics, even the ones that aren't written. It's great. Like obviously Wells is doing a good job. Nick Spencer did a good job, not a great job. I mean, they're not going to be like ones that we go back to and talk about for years to come, the same way we do with like Dan Slott's run, David Michelini's run, all of that. Like it won't be that way, but it will. Like every single time you read it, you notice all of this coming up, that Spider-Man takes the time to be who he needs to be for who he needs to be that for.
Yeah, exactly. You think, like, I don't know. I just feel like I did like that Scream mission, but why did they have to make Mary Jane so damn ugly in that game? Come on, man. You gotta admit, she is beastly. Please, American game people, stop trying to listen. I saw it. I'm gonna show you guys. They showed a girl that looked like her. She's not the it wasn't a self-insert. They showed the model they used to make Mary Jane. She's gorgeous. She's pretty.
And she was much prettier in the first game.
Exactly. They're doing this on purpose. This is being done to American games only. They are trying to make the women look less attractive for some reason. I don't even know why that is. I don't even know why that is. But yeah, exactly. She looks like she got the fuck smell on her face. Like she smells something bad. I noticed that immediately. I was like, why did they make this girl? I love the story. I like a lot of the story, but the girl was ugly. I'm like, like you're making it on a computer. Why would you make it look like this? You chose to make it look this homely. Yeah, exactly. I know. It annoyed the hell out of me because I'm used to seeing, like, look, Chris, get up. That's the Mary Jane I'm used to seeing. That pretty Mary Jane with the red hair. Not this freaking lump that looks like she's smelling farts all the time. See? Pretty girl. That's what you want for your girl. Why should Peter Parker have a plain Jane when he should have a Mary Jane? That's a Jane you marry, see? So
on that note, we gotta end it.
Okay, if I can just keep going all damn day.
Let's end with plain
fun.
Jane over Mary Jane. But yeah, next week I definitely want to talk more about this. Obviously, there's going to be new stuff coming out all week. We didn't expect to get a list this soon.
No.
But I think they're going to be adding to that list. Like people are going to come out of the woodworks and say, like, I cracked this slab open. It is not what I expected it to be. But all right. Have a great night, everyone.
I'm going to take this list, right? You ever see Chris Jericho where he was? All right, man. Let me get out of here. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Good night, guys.